Hello everyone, welcome back to Weaving Web 3. We're at ECC again and I've got a really exciting guest for you, and what their mission is and vision is actually really inspiring and something that is really lacking in this world. So I'll let my guest to introduce himself.
Hi, so I'm Emmanuel, I'm from World Mobile. We're building a decentralized telecom network, which the mission is basically to connect the unconnected in the world and build the future of connectivity. So, you know, a lot of people are astounded when I say 2.6 billion people. 2.6 billion people today are completely unconnected. No internet services, no cellular services. They can't call 911, 999, 112, all of that sort of stuff. Billions more have connection, but it's not meaningful.
Yeah.
So they can't use Netflix, they can't use social media, they can't study online. And even more people are completely priced out of connectivity or they're charged unfairly. And that's because in the telecom industry, I mean, you guys at home, see if you can count the number of telecoms providers where you are right now. There are maybe 2 or 3 in every single country that own the entire infrastructure.
That is crazy.
And it is crazy.
It doesn't make sense, right?
Crazy,
We would have thought at this point in time that people would have access to these things, right?
Exactly, and they've been around maybe for 100 years. In the UK, it's BT in particular. It owns the entire fiber line, and they're forced to rent it out to other people. And you know, the reason why they don't want to extend connectivity is because 1, they're monopolies, they're happy with their bonuses, but 2, the business case just isn't there to connect 50 people, say, in a village. What we do at World Mobile is we distribute via a sharing economy, so a community of people, the ability to roll out a mobile network. So if you see a community that you want to connect, you can go onto our platform, you can choose the hardware, you can see how much you will earn, and you can set that up for your community.
Okay.
But that is not the key USP, that's the expansion model. The key USP is that we use lower cost hardware. So if you use lower cost hardware and connect the same number of people, you can reduce the price, or you can actually connect fewer people and still make the business model work. Wow. So that's how we're extending connectivity to those people that are unconnected and closing the connectivity gap.
Why the blockchain, and why are you choosing to target these countries that don't have these access to it?
Yeah, well, the first question on the blockchain, it's very simple. Blockchain, a blockchain, you know, the first blockchain, Bitcoin's blockchain, was made in response to a particular problem, the double spending problem, that came as a result of decentralizing finance. So it's only really good when it's looking at the organization of value. So if we're going to allow people to create their own mobile network operations, do we want to sit in the middle and say, these are your customers, this is how much they're paying, and here's what you're entitled to? Or do we want to decentralize that organization of value? That's what we want to do, because it gives them the incentive to grow their network, and they own all of their rewards. I forgot the second question.
I was just saying, why did you choose these markets? Why?
Yeah, well, so number 1, from a business case, 2.6 billion people is a massive customer base, right? So the biggest telecoms company in the world, China Telecoms, they don't even connect 1 billion people. So you've got all of these monopolies, AT&T, Verizon, BT, Orange, etc., Vodacom, who we're partnered with, by the way, but they haven't found the capacity to extend it to these people. So number 1, if you're an investor, you look for a problem that's of global scale with a massive audience. But it's not just places that have zero connection. So one of our key markets right now is in Reno, Nevada, in the USA. The USA is the biggest telecoms market in the world, but Reno is in the middle of the desert.
Yes.
So it has little coverage, and it has even more monopolistic companies there that don't fairly charge for the connection that's providing. 5 million people in the US right now are disconnected because they don't want to subscribe their data to big wireless. They don't want these companies to control and all these unfair pricing things. So even in countries like the US, which is completely covered, there is still a gap to build a new type of connectivity infrastructure.
So you're basically bringing down the corruption and bringing back what people actually need, because at the end of the day, the communication between people is one of the most important things, especially if those people, I know many people that have moved to, let's say, America, England and stuff, but their families back at home don't have these abilities to talk to them. And then you hear these stories like, I haven't spoken to my mom for 20 years. And you're like, why is that? Because they just can't afford or there's no connectivity. And that is just crazy that these people don't have it, and like it's crazy that these massive organizations just don't, it feels like they don't want to give those people that, and it's just disgusting.
Well,
right?
they don't have any incentive to invest in the infrastructure that can connect these people. But you can look at that problem, you can look at the evidence for what you've just said. So on the one hand, the Oxford Internet Institute did a study about 2 months ago where they interviewed about 2.2 million people across 168 countries, all demographics. And 85% of the people that they interviewed said, once I was connected, it changed my life for the better. 85%. Wow. Now, there is a small section, I'll be fair, there is a small section, one demographic, it was young women who had the misfortune to be cyberbullied. But if you take what cyberbullying is, that's after having grown up in a country that's well connected and you benefit from connection. That should be tackled, but you can't leave people offline. And then the second part of it, if you look at there's the GSMA Mobile Connectivity Index, which measures how connectivity is distributed, mobile connectivity is distributed across the world. Invariably, countries that are least connected are also ranked poorly on the corruption index, democracy index, like violence against women index, like every single index is impacted by your
because they don't have access to those basic things that we need, right?
Exactly. It's like water. It's like water. And then you come to places like this is a crypto conference. Everyone here is talking about banking the unbanked. Yeah. How do you bank the unbanked if they aren't connected? If they haven't got internet,
of course,
or if they can't, how can you run software without the internet? You can't.
No, you can't, right?
So anyway.
You already have many active users, and how does it work? How do you change the numbers from, let's say, your users to changing their lives, and like the costs? Like, how are you saving these costs?
The great thing about working in connectivity is every user is someone that you're already impacting. So we have about 103,000 daily active users. So that's 103,000 people that are using our mobile or internet services.
That's more than the majority of protocols out there than daily active users.
If you go on Token Terminal right now and you compare us to the top projects, we're in the top 20.
Wow.
If you remove the speculative use, so people that are just using crypto because they want to hold it and wait for the price to go up, we're probably in the top 10 or top 5. Wow. And that's not the end of it. Like there's more users that are waiting to be
Why is no one talking about you? Why do you think you're being put down? But this
because,
is what you're building is it is genuinely life-changing technology. Most people here is
everyone will understand
I'm building next ZK EVM. My finality is better than yours, but at the end of the day, what are the actual genuine products that are we building? And it just seems like you guys are completely under the radar. That's it's weird that I've never heard of you, and then you've got such a massive impact in the world.
Well, number one, not for long. That's going to change for sure. But also, DePIN, the term DePIN, although the decentralizing physical infrastructure networks has been around for a long while. You could argue Bitcoin was the first DePIN, right? You could argue that. I don't think it's the case, but you could argue that. But it's really taken off since the end of 2023 or beginning of 2023 when Masari did a great report, coined the term, and now we're running with it. But also, for us in particular, that user growth only came in the past year.
Wow.
So we went from pretty much 0 daily active users to 100,000 in less than a year.
That is crazy.
So now we've got to talk about it.
Absolutely. So where do you think you see yourself? Let's say we do this talk again in a year's time. Where do you see the whole vision? What would you like to achieve, and what are you thinking of building in that time?
Yeah. Well, I won't give any numbers because our community would love for me to say 1 million users or whatever. What I see is the expedited rollout of our partner program. So one of the things that, in crypto, you've got the blockchain trilemma, which deals with security, scalability, and then decentralization. And you can't really do all three without putting one of them off balance, right?
Absolutely.
So, but if you think about what consumers want, if you have your mobile plan, your internet plan, what do you want? You want it to be active, and you want it to be secure, and you want it to be able to use to watch Netflix. You don't care if it's decentralized.
No, absolutely.
So in the first instance, before we allow anyone to build their own mobile network operation, what we want to do is partner with telcos we can prove that the business model works to extend their connectivity and connect the unconnected. And that's what we want to do. So the next few years is going to be the extensive rollout of that partner program. One of the key partners that we have right now, we're partnered with Vodacom, which has 200 million users across, I think, 14 African countries. We launched an amazing pilot of a blimp. We put a blimp in the air with a telco payload on it to connect many people.
Wow, really?
Yep, for 8 times less than it would cost to do a base station.
That's crazy.
GSMA taking telecoms to the sky case study.
There we go.
And then in Pakistan, we're partnered with a startup telecom provider called WorldCall, which have rolled out all of our nodes. I won't say the number because there's a lot.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of numbers, and there's a lot of nodes and a lot of users out there that are connecting people on the ground. So we want to do a lot of partnering with people who either have the capacity or have the expertise, and then we can fill in the gaps.
This is life-changing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is.
Like, I think it's really inspirational what you guys are doing, because there is so much talk and not much action in the space. Even though I love this space, but I do genuinely believe it's all a facade until someone makes it, right?
Yeah. What I would say to anyone in this space is, don't be fooled by projects that have a lot of nodes or a lot of volume or a high token price. Interrogate the number of users they have. And that's what I like to stick to.
Yeah, being
100,000 daily users. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And if there's anything you want to get out to any user, developer, or just someone that's interested in your project, what would you do? What would you say? Where should they go?
So if you get the problem that 2.6 billion people are unconnected and many more people are either unfairly priced for connectivity or don't have stable connectivity, if you couldn't survive without connectivity, get in touch, because we can help you connect those people. So I'd say worldmobile.io or airnode.worldmobile.io. Go to those sites and see how you can get involved.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for having me on. This is really inspirational.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh man, this is awesome, bro.